Unfreaking believable, man.
Time to buy a new computer.
Yep.
There you go. You're back.
All right. Sorry about that, everyone. My machine completely zonked and crashed. I mean, it's a brand new Alienware with a i9 in it. Holy shit! Sorry for saying that, but wow. So, wow, that was messed up. So hopefully we get everyone back on here and we just move forward from this point. So, wow, that was a comical thing. It's showing a 0, so that's funny.
We'll be back.
Yeah, I think it's just a glitch on my end too, because a lot of people are stayed on. So that was interesting to say the least. So if you're on, you can hear us. Place in chat. Say something in chat. Hey. I don't think there's anyone there. It's showing a whole.
Stay on through it all.
Oh, it's just. Oh, there we go. Okay. Whew, thanks. Laser Dong Face Melter. Thanks for guys. I'm sorry about that. What a mess that was. Like I said, I don't have a shitty computer, but wow, that was awful. All right, thank you so very much. Thank you for bearing with me. That's embarrassing. Having having this machine crash out like that, and I don't have a bunch of screens open or anything like that either. So
need a new computer.
Yes, you gotta have a new one. So, Alan, continue with that character discussion, please. We're gonna go back to Jeddah is from the future, and now he's dual classing.
So we ended up. What happened was he went all the way up to 7th or 8th level, or maybe even 9th. But then he realized that this group really had no magic user support, and so what he did was he at first when he first joined the group, he didn't believe that magic was a real thing. He thought they were just joking around. But after all these different things attacked him over time, he decided, you know what? Maybe I'll investigate this. As a good scientist, he went and checked it out. And now let me see, hold on. I think he's 7-7 now. Or let's see, Jeddah.
Yeah, I got him right here. Jeddah is 7-7. Yeah.
7-7. So yeah.
Yeah. So Carlos has gotten his act together on streaming, and I said to his wife Amanda last night after a show, it doesn't matter how good you think you are on this, something bad always happens. And look, the whole machine went and froze up. So, Jeddah, I'm joking when I say dislike the character, but because Alan comes up with some great ideas. But it is he's talking about Top Gun, he's talking about barbecues, he's talking about stuff. These kids,
he made his own Under Armour.
What's that? Yeah,
he invented Under Armour now.
Yeah, he says, okay, it's like a hot tub time machine event in our game.
It's like the reverse of Expedition to the Barrier Peaks.
Yeah. So
he's got to go on that one though. That's his goal.
So I got that going for me, which is nice.
So Barrier Peaks, you may be able to get some lasers.
Yeah, well, I'm not running it, so you don't have to worry about it. So. But so he dual classed the mage, and as Alan does with almost every single human he has, he dual classes them all, and that's kind of like the advantage of a dual class human. So when he becomes 8th level mage and surpasses, he can use his Thief Acrobat abilities again. Now we have a Tim rule, and I was talking about this Thursday night on dual classing humans, and it's the abuse of this will be shown in the adventure we're running. Hidden Temple of Earthnol, which is old 2nd edition. You have all these characters in there that took low levels of fighter to get specialization, then took other levels in other class. Yep. So, and that was, I
guarantee you, if he ends up with a wish, you're going to allow him to triple class. That'll be the character to do it.
Which one, Jeddah?
Yep.
Well, we have Walt's character Ishtar was one back in the early time frame, but that was so long ago, and that was because I believe
you were going to let Tim do it as well.
Yeah. With who?
It was one of the characters since I've been playing recently.
So Reginald?
It was, the one of either Phineas or Ferd was going to triple class.
Well, only one of them's a human, so Phineas was a human and Ferb's a half ogre, so it was probably Phineas. So Tim may hop on, and you never know about Christoph. We'll see. And so tell us about Llewellyn, a character who stays behind the scenes real quick a lot. Mark,
Yeah.
look at this as we speak.
There he is.
You call me Tim.
Should never say his name.
Tim.
What is? I don't know. I don't know if that's the real Tim. He looks pretty hippie-like though.
We're talking about the Thief Acrobat now and other thieves. So I know you're. Yeah, there. Carlos said, "Yeah, Tim." And also, there may be another gentleman, military gentleman, on too tonight. We'll see if he hops on.
I don't look military. I look rogue. I don't know.
No, you always look military because
You
you're
look,
about to
Tim,
kill
honestly, you look like you're sporting your Road Warrior look.
Thank you. That's the nicest thing somebody said to me today.
No, Taco Turtle said he looks like the dude, the brother in Vikings, the one that got killed.
Well, we must have been told.
And of course, Brian is busting Alan's balls already.
My balls?
Yeah, who's the guy in the top left? So I got an announcement for Brian too.
Shouldn't let me control the mouse.
We got a big announcement for Brian too coming up. So talk about Llewellyn a little bit there, Mark, and then we're going to hop into some Timisms.
Yeah, so Llewellyn
While
was
we have
just kind of a concept to a little bit of a degree of just being like a necromancer groupie, if you think of it that way. So she's heard of obviously the exploits of Salen and a few of the other necromancers that we have in the campaign, and so she just gets kind of starstruck when she hears about him and others. So that's just the basic concept of it. I have one other necromancer that I play in the campaign named Felina, and most of what she was dual class as well. Most of what I learned with her, she kind of rose through the ranks very quickly, just because she just happened to get lucky in the adventures it was that we were playing. But Llewellyn, she actually goes by the name of Cricket, and so the concept of what I talked about before, where she uses her thief acrobat abilities to break into the graveyard, that's kind of the truth. Is she has this idea about just taking like different body parts and so forth, and starting up like her own kind of groupies that she gets to hang out with. So that's the concept. Anyway.
It's a bizarre combination, necromancer, thief, acrobat. I mean, we've never had anything that crazy, which is cool. It's different, right? So it's a complete difference up there, and it's good. It's good to have some experimentation, and you got a good backstory behind that. So I'm going to send one of you a personal message and see if it happens.
I think that somebody like that, when they animate undead, they want to really animate it.
Yes, and we all know about stuff going on in Greyhawk and all those cities about the undead and keeping them not animated, but there's all throughout the sewers and all as it is. So Tim, let's go. All right, let's hop back to Thieves. You have in Thievery your first edition thief, which is mostly multi-class, except we have the race, the ongoing, never-ending race between two halflings for supremacy in levels. Okay. So we have Sam, who's Alan's character, who technically is from the highest level character, been brought up from first, originally with 0 experience points in the campaign, right?
Correct.
Sam is a 17th level halfling thief, and you have Tim's.
I don't think he's 17th anymore.
Oh, he is 17th.
He's 17th. I double checked it before the show started, and we have Leuven.
Poor Brian, just can't stand it.
Leuven started out at first level, but he joined the campaign later.
Right, and he's an 18th level halfling thief, 1 level higher. And the J kind of rule is whenever Sam levels, Leuven levels. So they're always one.
Leuven has played probably like 3 times in the last 20 years. Sam's 50 has gone up from 14 and somehow Leuven has more experience than Sam. Somehow.
That's not my fault. I didn't do it.
That's bullshit right there. I need to lodge an appeal.
Why can't we both be together as a team at the same
Well,
level?
we're good. Sam and Leuven are very good friends.
Absolutely. One's a tall fellow too. Leuven's a tall fellow, halfling.
Yes, Sam
so
is not.
Nobody steals stuff from us.
Right. Exactly.
So one of the things that one of the reasons I logged on to this chat, I'm not a frequent logger on it, is to go over the story of Tim and I back when it was just Tim and I and Jay playing. Jay was DMing for us. We each played one character, Leuven and Sam. We had our own Thieves guilds in Highport, and some of the most entertaining adventuring I had ever done was during that period where we were all just doing thief things, sneaking into places, and we were both. What is Leuven true neutral or is he neutral good?
Oh, he's good.
Yeah, so is Sam. So they weren't robbing to like if we found the money changer who was shady, we go in and liberate some of his money, and then frame somebody else.
Yeah, we were trying to unite all the downtrodden in Highport. All the demi-humans that ended up being there and helping them out.
This is the Highport adventure pre all those references. No Slavers references, no From the Ashes reference, no Free City Greyhawk box set references. None of that. You had a Darlene map, and that was it.
One, right? We knew
What's that?
There were slavers.
There were slavers modules, but there was no
right.
references beyond the Dulsography.
We were trying to avoid attention.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were good at it, except for a couple people.
It was a fun time because you had Tim's character Skeeve as Mage Thief, who was working against the slavers. He was like behind the scenes doing stuff, but then he would do stuff he shouldn't, like teleport into Lord Page's bedroom. We always heard that story.
No, teleport out of that room.
Well, whatever. You should never go in. Yeah, quickly, and I switched out Lord Page for Sir Twix when Alan decided to play Herbie in the Watcher's Towers. So you guys didn't see Lord Page yet. But then Sam and Leuven came along and they were doing stuff in there as well. I remember someone had a vault and it was completely metal, and someone crystal brittled it with what's that?
A wand of metal command?
Yeah, wand of metal command, which is a great item. So you guys had a lot of fun.
And they came down and they were cleaned out.
Cleaned them
How
out.
did the puppets carry it all away?
So you guys had a blast with them, and that was pretty good. Like we haven't done that a lot, like one-on-one or two-on-one adventuring like that.
Well, a lot changes once everybody got married. As well.
That's true. That's true. And we're not in college, and we're not sitting around just chat. Yeah, it's very true.
But there are groups I think that could get into that, especially it's the group all Shadow Match Thieves.
The Night Stalkers.
They're definitely a behind the scenes. So you could easily set up an adventure for just bring one character, bring your thief, but everybody should have one thief in that group, right?
Night Stalkers, everyone has a Shadow Mage Thief of some sort. Yeah, absolutely.
Right, so just the thieves that night, and just make it a pure whatever, but it's got to be, it can't be a hack and slash.
Here's what's. Let me go down the road. We're going to jump ahead then. So I've written down every single guild we have that's mixed in our campaign, and that's a total of 8 guilds over 4 cities. Now, we're going to be doing a lot more thieving down the road, especially with the Grey Company, because of what you guys did in the adventure Deal or No Deal, okay? And the background story goes like this. Alan, I'm sorry, Bill, why don't you talk about that character, another dual-class human thief. Why don't you talk about Galena and what she's all about?
The Shannon Doherty.
She looks like Shannon Doherty. The figure looks like Shannon Doherty. Yes, it does, from the 90s. Yes, yep, yeah, absolutely. That figure is Shannon Doherty. So
she started off as a straight thief in that group, which was pretty much when it started was built to eventually do the Greyhawk Guild War stuff, and she had the stats, and after getting a book, she decided, you know what, I want to be an illusionist too. And now that she's at a level where she's more stabilized, she's changed her goals. That she wants to be more involved with the guild, but
In
not
Greyhawk
so much
City.
In Greyhawk City, but she doesn't want to be a quartermaster. She wants to be the go-to guy. She wants to be the master of whispers, or the spy master in Greyhawk City. So that's something that's in the works, and there's some adventures going to be king in that in the future.
I'm going to tell something real quick. In my upcoming article in the Earth Journal, The Free Swords of Greyhawk City, I go over this with this adventuring group called the Grey Company. They were involved highly, and if you read the From the Ashes, not the From the Ashes, but you read the City of Greyhawk box set, Thomas Radtick's in the River Quarter, and Sharon Currell or someone is in the Foreign Quarter, and they're trouble to the Thieves Guild, and there's a war, an internal war that is about to go on. We play that out in our game, and that went on before we were streaming. Back when the other bill was playing too, and
20 years ago.
Yeah, about that, and so that went through, and of course they were successful getting rid of the two troublemakers, and it says From the Ashes that they were replaced by other people. So we actually did that. So they have a lot of standing in the Thieves Guild. On Deal or No Deal, this gentleman comes and says, "I'll give you a whole house if you find this item for me." And they end up doing it. And this is available on the YouTube Mirror. It's really old. Deal or No Deal. It's probably like 9 months old. They end up, it's a rod of, what's it called? A rod of rulership. It's the King of the Beggars rod of rulership. If you know the history, the King of the Beggars gets taken over by the Thieves Guild. A new beggar comes in, sues for peace, right? Well, it turns out that this guy who they gave this rod of rulership to is the son of the original Beggar King, who's come back, and he's got a lot of power in the Divers Thieves Guild, and now they give him this rod of rulership. And that's where that adventure ends, and so we're going to see how that plays out down the road. There's going to be a lot of thief intrigue we're going to do in some Greyhawk, and that's where I think we're going to do some 2-on-1, 1-on-1s. We'll see. Hopefully it works, and where we all play only one character, thief type. So that's a good point, Alan. We want to try and do that. And I think that over Altamira, although Altamira I think is going to happen when I retire, all that stuff with Darius the Deposed and Spunk. I think that's right, Tim. I think that'll happen when I'm old. Maybe another 10 years. So anyone else want to bring up other thieves? And it could be dual class, multi-class. Like I said, guys, please feel free to ask questions. Anyone who's watching.
So there's one other thing I want to go back to when we started talking about some of the changes in Unearthed Arcana, and I think one of the things that gets overlooked an awful lot is more of a take of more realism, and that is about armor versus non-armor, and it's changing to abilities scores when it comes to thievery.
Good point. And that table's like this big, and then someone put a supplement out and made it this big, right?
Yeah.
And then you had to glue it into the inside of the cover.
Well, and where I think that really plays into our campaign more than anything is where you have types, which we're going to be getting into, where they can actually wear more heavier armor, but they still have thieving abilities in the grand scheme of things.
Greatly diminished.
And so forth.
Yeah, true on that, greatly diminished. And the one that I think of the most is bandits, which are actually fighter subclasses. But we have some thieves that wear Elven Chain. We do, because there's some huge penalties on it, but it's nowhere near like a penalty with plate mail, right?
Right.
So, but that's a great point, Mark. I didn't even have that down in my notes anywhere. That's fantastic.
I think it pays off, especially if you're a fighter thief, the option to be able to do some stuff and still be armored a little bit better.
And I'll bring that up again. Here's another point, and this is a brilliantly played thief by Walt. And I'm actually Carlos has this character in his repertoire for Gen Con. I'll go to the picture of him, and that's Erebus. He's a fighter thief. He's a dwarf. There he is, dwarf fighter thief, and he has dwarven claymore. He has some heavier armor. He has leather armor, and then he has short swords, and he has light crossbow. So he can go different fighting styles. So if you need a backup fighter, he's got high strength. He can go into his fighter mode with a Dormant Claymore, or if you want to use him as a thief, he can don his leather armor and go short sword with his thief weapons. So he's more of a flexible type character. He's one or the other, usually not both at the same time, as we've seen in the adventures that we have him in. So
multi-role strike fighter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bombing or air to air.
And Carlos, that is Walt's character. I mean, that's not. Some of them are NPCs and some of them are PCs I gave you. And so for dual class, Wally 1970 tanker, Tim is on, and we went over this a second before I crashed. Tim has one of the Tim abuse rules was this.
It's not abuse. It's allowable in the rules.
Tim would always make up a first level fighter with 15 strength, so that's all you needed. Get your specializations in and switch it to another class immediately as a human. So we're like, that's not going to work anymore. So here's what we do.
It's totally fair.
It's totally legit in the rules, but it just and you're going to see characters like this in the Hidden Temple of Earthnol the way it's written. I'm going to take full advantage of it in the adventure we're running now. By the way, we're on Tuesday night, not Thursday night, because of 4th of July. So we got 3 straight shows tonight. Tomorrow night's Mark, and we're back on Tuesday. So this is the rule we did for dual classing of anything. You have to go to 7th level. You can stop there. You can keep going. Doesn't matter what you're going to dual class. Mage to Paladin, Paladin to Thief.
Noted that's a totally unnecessary house rule for anyone out there.
But does everyone agree that works?
I agree that Tim is right.
He is right.
And I think Tim is creative just like me. When I get punished.
Because the level tier 3 emote is just for both of these gentlemen, right? And that is the Bill picking his nose, no icon that has to come out sometimes and just say no. And that's what that emote.
If it's in your house, that's just the rule.
Yeah, that's the no emote, and that is exactly what it's for. Mark, you're the voice of reason. 7th levels worked very well, correct?
I mean, honestly, the rules actually state that what Tim is trying to accomplish is true. You can actually do that. Now, I also believe in balance in the game. And so technically what I would say is the lowest class that you can actually do that with would be Bard.
Yes, so but Bard's a special circumstance.
You can go up to 5th level as a fighter. So I would probably mandate you have to be at least 5th.
Right, but that's a special circumstance. Bill and I were talking about this. Bards are going to be their own show because we have so many different types. So we're going to do delving into Bards in a couple weeks. All right, so we'll get to all that with Bards, but I make it 7th level, and then you can switch, and then to get those abilities back, you got to go up to 8th and surpass. So, yeah, and that's where we are on that, and that's just the house rule that I've implemented, and the no will come out on anyone else. So, why did I settle in 7th level? It's a main level of a majority of our adventuring occurs 5th to 9th. That's just Rocket. Good question. 5th to 9th, the experience tables are not going crazy high yet. You know, for fighter you need 125 or whatever, and it goes 250 or whatever. You know, it's not super high on experience. And if you do 4 or 5 adventures, you can catch up to the group fairly quickly. Yeah, Carlos is with you, Tim.
I don't think it unbalances that much. It's just it is uncomfortable. It maybe gives you a little plus early, but it doesn't do that much. But hey, it's your house.
Yeah, exactly, and it's worked for 35, 40 years.
I don't think we made that rule that long ago. I think I only did that abuse like 25 years ago. Yeah. So 20 years ago.
And so Wally Tanker brings up stats, and I'm going to tell you this, Wally. If you're playing 5th edition, I can't tell you what to be. If that's a 1st edition stat roll, you could be almost anything because a 15 strength does nothing for you as a fighter in 1E 2E. Now, if that's a 5E, maybe Brian can help you out. Sublime with what he would recommend. on that, but I don't think you could just be limited to a fighter with that. I think you could go some other options with that, like maybe a ranger. I'm not sure, but or something like that as well. Yeah, if it's first edition, fighters doesn't make sense at 15, correct, guys? I mean, with those stats, I would look at an offbeat class to change things up.
Dude, that's like Flid.
Yeah, it looks like Flid. Just remember this: if you have first edition and you can double specialize, you're still gonna get +3 hit, +3 damage, and multiple attacks. So fighter may be the way to go with 15 strength.
I would say fighter's the only thing you can do there.
Yeah. No, I bandit. I bet you that's not a bad bandit class for us.
And in today's world too,
yeah.
Fighters don't need high strength if you decide to be a finesse fighter.
But he's only got 12 decks.
Okay, well.
That's his highest stat. Yeah, this is that's not even Lord Merikabot stats.
His stats are better than Nodnol's and just
so
crossbow or bow or something, and then shoot people in the throat.
It's all about role play too, right? So you role play your character, and if people love him and stuff, he may survive a little bit more because he's got a charm to him.
Hey, I've got a 7th or 8th level fighter now with probably worse stats than that.
Who? Garth?
Flid.
Oh, Flid, yeah. An RP is the way to go, but you need to build some stats around a character, and just to, especially dual classing, you have to. So, well, that's cool that you do that, but I wouldn't dual class that character. By rules, you couldn't, because you need to start with 15 to go to the class you're going to. You need 17s and prime stats. That's why no one duels to a ranger or stuff like that. So
now we're getting way off topic here, but you can.
Sorry.
If that's a base race, if you haven't chosen the race yet, once you get racial modifiers on there, you could bring his strength up to something a little stronger if you make him a
Sylvan Elf
or a Wild Elf or a
Sylvan Elf with that.
Strength goes up 1 too, right?
I think so. Sylvan Elf goes up 1, Wild Elf goes up 2. So there's some maneuverability there. All right, so a thief I want to bring up, because I'm his best friend, Hawk. He was, on the fundraiser show. He actually is the only one that died in that. He's 12-15 fighter thief. I try to use my thief abilities as much. Another one, Devitt, a classic, the Dark Elf, a Waltz fighter cleric thief. Marlena is yours, Alan, 12th level, high elf. I got to bring up Rumple Foreskin. What a name. That's Tom's gnome thief, straight thief, 9th level. And so there's a whole bunch. I mean, the thief, straight thief we have a huge amount with them. So
back in the older days, not many straight thieves now.
Tim, thanks for hopping in when you could. I know you have a birthday party. It's your daughter's, right?
My daughter's turned 18.
Yes.
18. My goodness.
Yes, I am old now.
Yes, Sidney, that is the name. I will spell it out. Rumple Foreskin.
Thanks, guys. Check you later.
Thanks,
Right.
Tim.
That is the name of Tom's alcoholic gnome. So yes, it is. Yes, and I'm glad he hopped on. That was nice. And there's Tom, a legend. Rumple Foreskin is a legend. He once awoken a character in the negatives with a special ability. We won't discuss it. It's kind of disgusting, but you can just only imagine a drunken gnome. So great character by. He's gorgeous. So you can. I'll let you know next time Rumple is playing. You and Frank, I'll let you know. Next time he's actually doing something and playing. So Thief Acrobat comes out in Arcana. We have very limited of them, but we have a couple. The Greyhawk Player's Accessory comes out, and it's really a not too gung-ho of a book, right? I mean, you guys all have this, right? The Greyhawk Player's Guide, the one with the standing stones on it, Bill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was just basic. It was an introduction book for new players to the Greyhawk world.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all it was. But it had a couple cool things in it. One of them was the thug subclass of fighter, a thief. Jesus to me. And what are thugs? Well, they're on our list now. They're an approved class. They are very brutish thieves. basically it was almost like a kit for Greyhawk City. They get +1 hit with melee weapons. They can take any kind of fighter weapon that's one-handed, whether it's blunt or like a hammer. The one I have has a Morningstar, and they get the reduced thieving abilities. So they're kind of like a poor man's thief, but brutish. So we only have 2 in the entire campaign because it's been a recent addition. Walt has Rafiki. He's a half orc. He's in Harby, correct, Bill?
Yeah.
He's in Harby. And he's a Hiltless Sword member, if I recall correctly. And then everyone knows mine. And Carlos has mine as well, Fritz Winchester. He's a thug as well. Because he's not patient enough to be a thief. So, yes. I'm looking forward. I used this character at PAX Unplugged in December. And the girl who played him beautifully, and Walt was there, and it was yeah, they get con bonus Dorgrim in ours. So if they have an 18 con, they get +4 hit points instead of the +2 limited, and it's basically just a thief that has a Morningstar and he has his backstab weapon. And he's more brutish and more frontal offensive, and they're very poor fighters. as we
you should mention Lord Drarius.
He's not a thug.
No, but he's a brutish thief.
Yeah. So we'll get to that in guilds.
Okay.
All right, we're at 827. We got 100 people on. So about halfway through the classes. Here's our big announcement. Thanks, Mark, for making this. Everyone ready? Hopefully that we don't crash again right in the middle of this. We have, if you look in the lower right-hand corner, we have a brand new sponsor. And I want to say a bunch of things about it after this. But here we go. Here comes the new video, courtesy of Mark. Anyone who has Tim's off. Anyone who has a Monty Hall character, you better hide. The comet's coming again. Boom. Boom. So I got a little spot set up for him here. Huzzah, Frank. Yeah, there we go. Right in that corner there. Let me pop this up, the big one, for a second. All right. So let me talk here about Reaper Miniatures. Contacted me directly and said, we like what you're all doing, what you're all about. We want to sponsor you. And I was like, okay, let's work out an agreement. So thank you, Carlos. Thank you very much. So details are being finalized, but let's just put it this way. We should have giveaways with Reaper. We should have all sorts of promo events. We're going to try and limit all of our new PCs to Reaper Miniatures. I wanted to say this. I don't, and I got Frank, I got Sidwee and Nightheart Gaming Frank on. I want to say I don't think this would have been ever possible if Frank didn't open the door to Reaper looking at streamers like us. Frank actually did the hard work and got them as a sponsor for Nightheart Gaming first, so we got 2 streamers. We're the only 2 that we are aware of that are Reaper Miniatures as our sponsor. So I wanted to say kudos and thank you. And Frank and I are going to try and work on some stuff well, thanks, Carlos. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Gaetano. Thank you, Will. Thank you, everyone. I mean, this is like the coup de grace of our third sponsor. It's a great company. Ron Hawkins is the art director for Reaper, contacted me, and I couldn't be more pleased. He has his own show on Twitch. He has a show on Wednesdays. And I think it runs from like 6 to 8 or 6 to 7:30, and he's on it with the owner, and they're just BSing about stuff. And so they are in tune on what's going on with the streaming community. And thank you to, Frank reached out to them, got them, and I think that kind of said, hey, let's take a look around. And like I said, I had not even contacted them. So it's great. We got 2 in our community. So what does that mean? I think that the miniatures, tabletop styles that Frank and I show is catching on with Twitch, with streaming. And I think that both of our channels in that, and I'm not saying it's the way to go, everyone can go, but I know we all have fun playing that way, right, guys?
Absolutely.
And so it's just, yes, and yes, so it's an honor for this to happen. We've already got our first bulk of stuff coming already. I'm looking forward to it. Bill's going to be really busy. Yes.
You said we weren't going to play any first anytime soon.
We're going to have to, because we got we got a whole bunch of figures coming.
No new firsts.
Oh, we got a whole bunch of figures coming. Listen to Bill for Tom's characters that we got to fit in. We got a whole bunch of figures already coming. So let me get the big Reaper off of here and keep the small one in the corner. But that's our big announcement. Thank you. And like I said, we wouldn't be doing this if we weren't having a blast doing it and partnering with everyone here. So,
there any figures that it's a Drow Cavalier that I can play?
No, but we're gonna do Dark Elf Archers, brothers.
Sylvan Elf.
Yeah.
No, these ones are 2 because they're 2-fisted.
That's why I want to go with the Drow Cavalier.
yeah, we already discussed that on the Dark Elf show. Why we don't have specialization in both hands because of that. So guys, thanks a lot. Like I said, I wanted to throw that right in the middle. I'll throw that comment up at the end of the show as well. So have we talked about Obni yet? No, we have not. We have not talked about Lord Obni yet. Isn't he one of the EA's special agents, Will?
He was Robolar's buddy, wasn't he?
I think we haven't discussed him. So we were supposed to have a special guest on who couldn't make it last second. Drow Anti-Paladin, that would be fun, but Anti-Paladins themselves is
first.
We have not talked about Omni. Will, I was going to have someone else discuss published sources tonight, and so we'll just continue onward here. Yeah, that's what I thought. So, a created class I made, semi-ripped off from Baldur's Gate 2, was a Swashbuckler. Now, Swashbuckler is a 5e way you can go in Thief now, correct? Everyone out there? I think it is. But I don't know why I created. This is kind of in one of those. I
know why you created it.
You know, from what? Jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought he was both there, Will. Thank you for that. So, I'm a big Sam Raimi fan, and Bruce Campbell and his stupid TV show Jack of All Trades came out, and it was like in the early 90s.
The Daring Dragoon.
The Daring Dragoon. And so I went, hey, let's make a character class based on that, and Baldur's Gate 2 was out. So the Swashbuckler is a character. They get reduced two-fisted fighting penalties. They get armor class bonus. Their backstab sucked. It's 4 levels lower. I think the highest it ever can go is triple. So, and but they get special dexterity moves. You know, kind of like what happens with some of the abilities in 5e, but like they want to jump on a chandelier and stuff like that. So we only have 2 in the entire campaign. They're both NPCs. So it hasn't caught on with the PC guys, to put it bluntly. It is a thief subclass. They do get 1 specialization, but they don't get multiple attacks. They get +1, +2, +1, I think. So it's really just a flavor class. Yes, I was referencing 5e, Brian. Absolutely. Stick on there because your part's coming up. Your announcement's coming up soon too. So I have two NPCs in the Druid group a couple weeks ago. You guys saw Michaela Midsummer. She's a half elf female, 9th level, and then Carrie Dees. She's in the Reborn now because she
Peter.
was she
What do you
left.
think Tom just said?
What?
Carrie D's.
Oh, Carrie Dees. I get it. Yes,
I
absolutely.
can't imagine what Tom's saying right
Well,
now.
maybe he'll type it in. Maybe Tom will type it in.
Oh, I guarantee you will.
Carrie Dees, the daughter of the Castellan of Swain's Keep Tower in the middle of Altamira. She used to be a henchman in an NPC henchman in the Night Stalkers, and she was one of Bill's. She left and went out on her own, and now she's in the Reborn because they needed an
Deserves
NPC.
what she gets.
Yes, I need an NPC in that group, so I pulled her out, and she's CAC neutral, so that's what kind of stuff CAC neutrals do, right? So that's another miscellaneous. It's a straight class miscellaneous, but like I said, very weak fighter. It's kind of one of my utility character classes. So no one's played one, so we don't have to worry about that. Now on to the fun stuff. Assassins. Who wants to start? Bill?
I'm the only one who runs it.
All right. Well, you can see Bill's working on something there,
Yeah.
crafting. We'll show him now.
Okay.
Well, Bill, this part's on you. Assassins, everyone knows assassins are evil only in Player's Handbook 1, right?
Correct.
I held off on allowing an assassin in my campaign for 30 years, 35 years, Mark?
Yeah, at least.
And I'm special, so I got to run one.
Yes. So if we look on we look on this list, okay, on the list of character classes that are allowed. Whoops, you get on here, there's a little tilde mark up here. There's Thug Assassin. You can see the tilde mark. That means special permission by DM required before you start a new character. So Bill has a couple of them, and they're kind of tests. But we have a Shadow Mage, which can cast all sorts of enhancing spells for thievery, and it kind of fit. Here's a big question. The assassination table. Oh, you know what? I stopped this, didn't I? Stopped the scroller. Hold on. Let me restart the scroller up. Duh. Okay. The assassination table is here, and you notice we have a class on here that we talked about early on. All right, there we go. Starting to scroll now. Okay, there's the thief table. Leonard Lekofka is setting traps. Second edition specialty to assign. Why is that door open? Thief Acrobat. Thief Acrobat table by Allen. Swashbuckler class. Assassination table. You can do a lot of hurt to a character with an assassin.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, so a 7th level assassin can theoretically outright kill a 14th level character. Now, the chance is really low. I'm not going to.
They're not going to hit them.
Right. But the big question is this: if you're two-fisted, this is the question I'm going to ask all of my players. The assassination attempt is only on the first attack or both?
First. It's the way I'm the only one who's run them, and that's the way I've always rolled it. And I know it came up for discussion in an adventure with bad guys.
Now,
including Bounty Hunter, though I've never
a dual-fisted bounty hunter. You can knock them out on either attack. Correct, Mark?
I honestly, Jay, I side with Bill on this one. I have felt the same way with bounty hunters and assassins.
Felt or done? That's what I want.
For game balancing purposes.
Okay, you didn't say done. You said felt.
Yeah. Now, that said, when it comes to thieves, we have always allowed two-fisted thieves to backstab with both weapons.
But
okay?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because we didn't feel that was over-imbalancing. But the ability to outright kill somebody and having two chances at it just felt too imbalancing.
Okay.
The same thing with two knockouts as well.
Okay. So
yeah, for instance, with Jocelyn, who we might get to later, I have never, because she fights with a sharp weapon in her secondary hand.
Okay.
Because I've never done it that way.
Got it. So my question to you is, and if you notice on the notes, I have Bounty Hunter, and then I have both attacks are first only. So are we going to go for the knockout at the first attack only from this point on?
That's the way I've always done it.
I'm fine with it.
I've never done it any other way.
And honestly, that's how I feel about it too, Jay.
Alan?
I think it's one and done.
See, I listen to my players. Done. It's easy enough.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
if you want a rules clarification, this is one that we go through all the time, and we'll open this up to anybody out there. Thieves working within the same party who are hiding in shadows. Can they see each other or not? Because have they trained to be able to read each other's moves and know where to be? Or will they bump into each other if they're not paying attention?
I don't think they can see each other. I've always had that. That's a good question.
They're not
though, for this
invisible.
discussion.
So that's
That's a good question because we run into that. Any other DMs out there? I want that question. So yeah.
No, we didn't freeze.
Yeah, maybe Sprocket did.
I think Sprocket. I think that's you.
Yeah, just refresh Sprocket. See, I agree with Will. I agree with Will on that. Especially if you're going on different targets, it's kind of a moot point. But I don't think thieves should be able to see other thieves when they're hidden, because then I know coordination and stuff like that. But then this is where we're getting into the mechanics of the discussion.
well,
Yes.
yeah, that's why I asked.
Brian agrees. Yes, and Grendel Gaetano brings up a very key point: is a higher level thief may be able to hide a little bit better. So PC versus player knowledge. Brian says I agree on that. I do it that way, and so this is how I take care of that. Yeah, that's a good point with charm person, will, and things. And why can't the bad guy thieves see the good guy thieves hiding? Right? Exactly. This is how I do it. If they're about to both go in on the same character and they get to a point, I like them, unless there's some circumstance where it's really tight or it's slippery, I just make them make dex rolls. Big deal, right?
Yeah,
which is fine.
It depends upon how they coordinate their attacks.
What's that, Mark?
I said it also depends upon how they coordinate their attacks.
Right.
If they're going in beforehand and saying, "Hey, I'm going to go to the right, you're going to go to the left. Allow me, you attack after I do," sort of a thing.
Well, that's a possibility as well, but that's a delay attack. You got to win initiative then, right?
No. But what I'm saying is I'm not saying that you coordinate that as far as like who rolls first and whatever. I'm saying that they are planning out what their plan of attack is. And so one of them may say, "All right, allow me to do the very first stab so that we don't bump into each other." That sort of a thing.
Yeah, it's a game mechanics issue that we've had for 40 years, right? Yeah. And especially
that's why I figured this was,
it's a good point. It's a good point to discuss it with miniatures. Now you can see how close quarters this adventure we're doing now is. I mean, it would be almost impossible for two thieves to go in the same direction and cut around hidden and get behind the same person and backstab them simultaneously. There's no room, right? There's really no room in the halls. Now, maybe in one of the big other rooms, but in the halls, I don't think so. It's a good point, and it's one of those things in 1E, 2E that never got explained. So I think the way we do it right now is the best way for us on that. Hopefully, you guys will agree with me on that.
The way I've always envisioned it, and I'm pulling from Tim's playbook here, is that think of what a camouflage strike team in the military would do, some ranger or something like that. They go off into the woods. Because I know where to look, I can see you. I know where you're going. I know what your plan is. I can see you. But the bad guys can't see you. And same for them coming back. That's how I've always envisioned it. Like, I know where you are because we've had the discussion beforehand, and you're going to go up the right side, I'm going to go up the left side. Or we're both go up the right side, I'm going to stay 5 feet ahead of you.
That's at the beginning of a fight, but once a fight breaks out, you can't do that coordination. That's a first strike attack where you're sneaking up to start the fight off is different from it's in the middle of a fight, right?
And what I'm thinking about is, thieves have silent, their thieves can't, and their hand signals and things.
Right.
That's what I think they're using to signal, "Hey, I'm going around."
I just think in the chaos of fighting that unless it's well coordinated and ahead of time, I think that the way we do it now with the decks rolling and you got 18 dexes anyway. What are you worried about?
I'm not worried about it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm just saying that it's a yeah. Will, in the miniatures, I would say here's another thing. In the Theater of the Mind world, you don't have to worry about this. Okay, but in the miniature tabletop world, you definitely have to worry about this. And hey, Chris, good to see you on from Mukador. Excellent. So, hey, good point, Bill. Good point. And I'm always amenable to discussion and making changes. So that's a great point with it on that question.
Just curious about other people, how they handle it. That's all.
Yeah, the majority of the DMs out there agree, unless there's super coordination beforehand, that you really should do some kind of check. And that's a Will, Brian, and a Sprocket, and a couple other people. So
we don't worry about Brian's.
All right, Base Assassins First Edition. Advantages over Thieves. They could assassinate, obviously. They could use
disguise.
They could disguise. They got alignment tongues. They at higher level. They got all weapons, not just thief weapons. They could use any weapon. They could use longbows. A lot of people don't realize that. They also could use shields, even though they're wearing leather. So, a lot of other things that they could do differently. Big negatives. Their thief abilities were lower level than their assassination, right?
Absolutely. 3 levels. 2 levels.
2 levels. And they were of evil alignment, and you couldn't really play them. So, what did I do? This is 1981, 82. Walt brings out this character, Ishtar. She's a fighter assassin. I'm like, Walt, I'm like, I don't know. I'm in high school. I'm like, Walt, we don't play evil characters. Tim and Walt, I'm playing with them. Alan's going to a different high school, so I'm really not playing with Alan at the time. Mark hasn't come in at this time. This is pre-Mark even. This is how old this is. So I create my own class. First one we ever did, the Bounty Hunter. Now, we made a lot of changes to it, but this is the oldest new class outside of all the first edition rules. This is Archer was teetering because the article had just come out, but this is the first one I made up from scratch. So the Bounty Hunter, some special abilities. This is allowed you to play an assassin, but it wasn't evil. You had to be neutral, but you could be neutral good, like that the Robin Hood neutral good rule. All right, Bounty Hunters. Blunt weapons. They got knockout instead of assassination. They got a weapon specialization. +1 hit, +2 with 1 weapon. They got 3 attacks every 2 rounds with it. If they were straight class, not multi. They couldn't use shields. They got the disguise. They were able to track like a ranger because it was kind of like, someone out there trying to capture someone for hire, right? They got no pickpockets. They could, and later on, this magical setting trap thing came about, and I was talking with Christoph about it. So, thanks, Will. Will, I'd be more than happy to share this with anyone. Okay, it's a great class. We have some key bounty hunters in our game, so key that our city, Altamira, has a bounty hunters guild. So, Mark, you want to start this discussion up with the characters about it?
Yes. So effectively, there's a thieving guild obviously in Altamira as well, but the Bounty Hunters Guild is led by Charisse, and she was the very first bounty hunter that we actually got incorporated into the game. And effectively, there were a pair of other bounty hunters that came into the mix named Fedez and Farquaad. Fedez is an NPC, and Farquaad is my character. He's a half-orc, straight half-orc. And he's kind of the type that is a champagne taste on a beer budget, if you think of it that way. And it just started, it was a whole play on words of the French word pourquoi, which means why. And I just said, yeah, that makes sense. So I named him Farquaad. And he eventually, he and Fedez are second in command. I think they share it.
Yes, absolutely.
Of the Bounty Hunters Guild. So totally cheesy character, has 0 stats, can't really do a whole heck of a lot, was just there more than anything as just comic relief. So bounty hunters get the same ability as assassins, that they get to do different disguises and aliases and so forth. And so he has a list of aliases that are just for our own comic relief. At the end.
But what's cool is his best friend Fez, my NPC human, is a human who looks like a half orc.
Yep.
He has no orc blood in him at all, but he's ugly human.
Yep.
So they get along real well.
And the half orc that looks more human.
And they're both good aligned. So they're both members of the Order of Ulick as well. Yep. So the Altamira Bounty Hunters Guild. There's no Assassins Guild in Altamira. There's 2 Thieves Guilds, and we're gonna talk about guilds shortly. And the Bounty Hunters Guild has a lot of individually. This is the place for every vagabond to come in our campaign. Alan, do you have anyone associated at all? Pat, right? Pat Smith.
Pat.
Yes. Tell Pat's story.
So I don't know if you guys have ever heard the song "Twilight Zone" by Golden Earring, but I've always been intrigued by the beginning of that song. We talked about double-crossed agent who's now trying to get away. So Pat had been working for EAS and found out that got double-crossed. Really decided that this evil life was not for her. She was kind of a bounty hunter, but still she was kind of the Boba Fett bounty hunter kind of thing. And she decided that she needs to get away. Well, you don't just leave EAS's service like that. So she's kind of disguised herself, and half the time she adventures as a male, and half the time she adventures as a female. She disguises herself. Her name's Pat Smith, which is about as non-descriptive as you can get, because she doesn't want to, let anybody know who she really is. So that's a bounty hunter Madge, which gives her a nice combination.
Absolutely.
I always thought that character was based upon Pat from Saturday Night Live.
That's where the name came from.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where the name came from. But the character is based off the Golden Earring song.
But we didn't know she was a female until she turned like 4th or 5th level.
Yeah,
she was disguised as a male for all those levels. She's multi-class. I allow bounty hunters to multi-class as thieves. I'm sorry, not thieves. As mages, as clerics, because we do a lot of multi-class options. So it's a cool character. And
my favorite thing about her is that one of the spells she always takes is Cat's Grace, which very few mages take because it doesn't really benefit them. But as a mage thief, she takes it, and her dexterity goes up to, I think it's 21 or 22, which makes her a very, very nasty thief, improves her armor class, just makes her that much better. Let's see. Yeah, usually goes with 20. I'm sorry. It goes up to 20.
18 to 20 is the same, yeah. But not for thief abilities. Thief abilities get a little better.
No, thief abilities, yeah. So her thief abilities are base. I think her dex is 16, but as they go up and go all the way up, like set traps to 99% because she has 20 dex.
And Cat's Grace is a 2nd level spell, the player's option supplement.
Yep.
So I'm going to show you that, guys. Let me show you the player's option book. Let me just scroll through. There it is. Player's option spells and magic. That spell. A lot of other cool spells like vitriolic spheres in there. I think repair injuries in there. Isn't repair injury in that book?
Repair injury is in there.
Yeah, which is our go-to. It's a go-to 3rd level with critical hits. Go-to cleric spell for us at 3rd level.
Yep.
And there's a lot of good spells in that book. That and the Tome of Magic combined with all the other books really gives you a full range of stuff as far as good spells. There's the Tome of Magic. So, but yeah, that's a great That's a great character, Alan. So I have a picture up of, you don't have to be a bounty hunter to be in the Altamira Bounty Hunters Guild. Okay, so it's an association of people out to take hired, going after villains or whatever. These are 2 of Tom's favorite NPCs I've had forever. Okay, they're both neutral. They first came across them in Glipdell, which everyone knows what a shithole Glipdell is. We ran an adventure there just a little while ago. But the goblin is named Poo Poo, and the bugbear's named Kaka. All right, I'm a child. What can I say? Poo Poo's a fighter. Kaka's a bounty hunter, and they're like best friends.
And who's their third buddy?
Ichabod, Lord Mayor Ichabod.
There you go.
Okay,
Right?
yes.
Lord
Cooper's-
Mayor of?
The Mayor of Glipdale.
Exactly.
Yes, those two are two of thousands of figures. The only two that I painted myself. That's about it. So, one's a fighter. He speaks common. Kaka speaks no common at all. He speaks bugbear, and that's it. When he speaks in bugbear, he's highly intelligent. He sounds like he is Orson Welles doing Wine Connoisseur. That's how smart he is. But he only speaks bugbear. So, yes.
Yes, Carlos.
Carlos, I did.
What they're named.
Yes, Carlos. This is going back. This is toilet humor from college and high school. What can I say, Carlos? They've been around that long. They're members of the Bounty Hunters Guild. They pop up on rare occasions on adventures. I just throw them in there. They're kind of the comedy relief duo, and they're just neutral. So they're part of Altamira. Just wanted to put them up there. So I throw in a humanoid on a very rare occasion, right? I think we have another bugbear named George, don't we?
George.
We have another one.
George.
So, George. Yes, we have another one.
TP.
Yes, we have. So occasionally I lose my mind. What can I say, Carlos? They are not they're not evil at all, but they're out to do the job. So there you go.
Yep.
So some other bugbears, some other bounty hunters. Mark, you have Cordan, a half orc.
Yep.
A very powerful bounty. These are a couple in Greyhawk. A very powerful bounty hunter in Greyhawk. Second in command of the Night Watchman is Walt's player character Alphonse. He's a cleric bounty hunter, half elf. In Harby, Bill's sister to Galena, Jocelyn Senjak. Talk about her for a minute.
Yeah, well, she was Galena, my thief in Greyhawk, sent her sister to see what was going on in Harby, because there's never enough eyes going on in that damn city. So she is actually a bounty hunter shadow mage. So she gets, she definitely hides well, and, but she's very involved with the Assassins Guild in Harby. So she's kind of acting as a double agent who's also a member of the Throne of Wood.
Right. So as we transition out of this, so anyone have any other class characters? We were questions, and we're going to transition in how we handle guilds and how we do all sorts of intrigue with guilds.
So
Yes.
one thing I think that we should add before we get into the guild side is maybe an explanation for those that are used to more of the 5e standard with Thieves versus 1e, 2e in regards to backstab versus attacks with advantage.
Because you can attack, you can actually get like backstabbing with a crossbow, can't you?
Yeah, crossbow, bow, and so forth in 5e. So I think that there's a distinct difference between them. So
okay, well, please discuss that.
Yeah. So to start with, so 1e, 2e had a concept around it, around what was referred to as a backstab, and basically it is what a thief studies, if you will, in order to gain some sort of an advantage. And the concept of it is that they have to be able to sneak around behind the actual opponent. They have to gain some level of surprise. Now, traditionally, we have always, and I think I want to say 5e went in this direction, maybe even earlier, around a concept. There's two thieving abilities that are called Move Silently and Hide in Shadows. And we always combine them. Some of the purists that are out there say, well, if you're hiding in shadows, you're just standing there and just, trying to stay hidden. You can't actually move. And the moment that you move, you lose that ability. And we never catered to that simply because it just didn't make any sense. A thief is entire world around in combat is really getting around in behind and sneaking in while everything else is going on. There's a really great picture of this. I don't know if you actually have it, Jay, but in the Greyhawk Adventures, there's a picture. I always said it looked like Lena, but she is backstabbing a vampire, and it's fantastic artwork that's there. But the concept of it is that they have studied
Oh, that's a great picture.
Yep.
Yeah.
They've actually studied the ability to be able to get advantage and strike somebody from behind and do extra damage because they know what organs to hit and so forth. It's like one step lower than what an assassin would actually do. But once again, you have to have surprise, and then what happens is if you actually do have surprise, you gain a +4 to your attack. Okay. Now we have also done added to it that you can backstab with both hands. Okay, if you are two-fisted, a lot of thieves are, and it allows you to gain multiple dice damage based upon what level it is that you are. So if you're 1 through 4, you gain double. If you're 5th through 8th, you gain triple. If you're 9th through 12th, it's quadruple, and 13th and above is quintuple. And so it really works out well, especially when you're doing miniature combat, as Jay was explaining earlier. Now, when you start talking about 5e and you have a more where you attack with advantage. Now, I can't say from complete experience. I've just experienced playing 5e once. But effectively, from what I understood of it, if somebody is engaged and you have a thief go and attack, that person is already at a disadvantage. So you can attack with a missile weapon or you can attack hand-to-hand weapons and actually get additional damage in what it is that you're striking. Now, in what we do, that really would not work. There would be so much abuse that would come into it because you would just have thieves that would be sitting there with short bows, and your fighters would go and attack first, and then your thieves would go in and just keep peppering them with arrows. So once again, it's not necessarily wrong. It's just different than what it is that we actually do.
Yeah, Rethix brought something up too, and we use two-fist fighting over ambidextrous.
Yeah.
Right? So we have a feat system built into our proficiency, weapon proficiencies. You're forgetting one key thing, Mark. The nastiness of thieves with us is, say they have 3 times backstab and a critical hit.
Oh,
that
yeah.
multiplies.
Yep.
Because it's so lethal, right? We allow that, and that's always been the way it is.
Yeah.
And
in our critical hit tables, just for explanation, our critical hit tables allow both double damage as well as triple damage. So imagine you have a 5th level thief that backstabs and critically hits, already doing triple, and they happen to roll percentile dice, and the result of that becomes triple. You end up doing triple.
It's
fact,
9 times.
My group, the last time we actually played, that happened. Ilya actually backstabbed with a dagger and ended up doing triple.
Yeah, and still did only like 16 points, right?
No, she actually, it was an outright kill.
That's good to hear.
Using a dagger, she actually did 20-some points, which is pretty amazing for a regular dagger. But.
So, and this is every DM has his own house rules, and you gotta listen to your players on suggestions. And this is developed from us since 1980, over almost 40 years. And we used to stack pluses in the backstab. We stopped that. And if you look at, and it was Mark's character, Jeanette, she had a girdle of stone giant strength. Cloud. And it was quadruple damage and +11 or +12, whatever crazy. That's +48 before even rolling dice. So we went with the dice or quadrupled or tripled, not the plus damage. That's how we handle it in our game. But we also give out weapons now that stack damage with die 6 rerolls and massive criticals on the weapons. We've added a lot of things, and we also have weapons that thieves can use that add levels to their backstab ability. Right, the attack at 4 levels higher. We have that too.
Yep.
So,
Storm was +12.
Yeah. So. No problem, Frank.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, once again, it's not necessarily wrong. It's just different. I've always felt that it has a lot more realism into it.
Yeah.
And once again, if you looked at the actual rules, so this is the interesting thing. If you look at the rules, technically you could actually backstab practically anything. So as maybe a little bit of trivia that you can use from 1E, if you take a look at the rule set in the monster manual about subduing a dragon, it literally talks about a thief doing a backstab on a dragon and being able to do triple or quadruple in the mix. But we actually limit it that it has to be humanoid type. And where it also makes sense too, like I believe, and Jay, correct me if I'm wrong, like you can't have like a halfling thief backstab a giant.
You can't have. It's got to be kind of realistic. First of all, you can't backstab a golem.
Right.
You can't backstab like a mummy, but you can backstab a ghoul or ghast.
Yeah.
Theoretically, you could, right? You can't. It's got to make sense. You can't backstab a ghost, right? It doesn't make sense. There's no organs.
Internal organs.
Right. It's got to have some kind of internal organ. Backstabbing a dragon is just doesn't make sense.
We don't allow that, by the way. Just
doesn't make sense.
Understand? Yeah.
If the halfling has a position, and this happened in one of the adventures, that adventure on the winter, a giant fell, and then who had the halfling that I said you can backstab him now? If it slipped and fell, and then I allowed it. Remember? So there's an instance where they may be able to do backstab damage where they hit the organs, right?
Yeah.
It's all in balance and all makes sense. So I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I understand that either, Milk. I'm sorry. If anyone out there also understands that, please let me know. Thank you. So, but Carlos, thanks for the compliment. You know, my campaign with my players, we have 6 classes here: thief, thief acrobat, thug, swashbuckler, assassin, and bounty hunter. There's variety, and everyone likes. I mean, what's cool now is intertwining that into the guilds. Here are the guilds we have active in our campaign. Okay, and if you guys think I'm wrong on this, please correct me. But I went over this with Bill already. In Greyhawk, you have the main Thieves Guild, right? Which a lot of your characters are members of in the Grey Company, and some other people as well, right? You have the Assassins Guild, once run by Turin Deathstalker, now run by Vesper, right? We call it the Rope Makers Guild in Greyhawk. That's the front, correct?
Yep.
Okay, 2. In Harby, we have a Harby Thieves Guild that's attempted to be infiltrated by the Greyhawk City Thieves Guild currently, and there's a lot of fighting going on there. Okay, we have an Assassins Guild in Harby. In the adventure, we had to chase down that assassin. Remember that one?
Yep.
He killed a whole bunch of Greyhawk thieves, right? He slaughtered a whole bunch. Yep. So there's a lot of fighting going on there. So we have that Assassins Guild in Greyhawk too. Okay. In Divers, we have the Thieves Guild there that Thendon, the son of the old king of the beggars from Greyhawk City, is running, and now he's coming back for revenge. All right? Correct. In Altamira, we have our main city that we created ourselves in the County of Ulick. We have the main Thieves Guild, run by Lord Drarius the Deposed. Lord Drarius the Deposed is a dual class. What is he, Alan?
He's a cavalier thief.
Dual class, cavalier thief. All right. The story goes as this. Drarius was a petty noble in the Wild Coast. Was not very good with his finances, was not very good with much of anything, being a chaotic, neutral, chaotic, stupid character. He went bankrupt, lost everything. What do you do when you're bankrupt and you have no money, no armor, nothing? You become a thief. He was a very poor thief for a long time. So long that he was actually in Highport and joined Sam Allen's Thieves Guild. He was always, when he failed a pickpocket, he wouldn't run away. He would break the person's arm and then steal the money forcefully, correct? He was always,
no, he pickpocket and got caught. That's when he break the arm.
Right, exactly. So he was always getting in trouble. When Sam left Highport, Drarius felt betrayed. Being chaotic neutral and having nothing better to do with your life, he swore vengeance on Sam. That's his one lifeblood. So, all these years later, what does Jay do? Jay brings him. He's now a dual class, whatever he was, 9th level cavalier, 13th level thief. He has usurped command of the Thieves Guild in Altamira, the city Sam lives in. and has a rule: no short people are allowed in the guild at all. No halflings, no gnomes, no dwarves. So, you like that? You like that, Refix? Thank you. So, Lord Darius the Deposed, typical CAC neutral with nothing to do, nothing but time on his hands. He's in Altamira. If anyone knows history about Ubin Had and Spunk, what does Spunk stand for? Anyone? Tim's not here. The Short People's
Union of Nefarious Kleptomaniacs.
Yes, Spunk has now had enough of this and has come into. I showed you the midgets in the earth thing out of Dragon 60 that kind of jokes Ubin Had. His organization has now come into Altamira. Spunk is there, and they're going to try to take out Darius at some point. So this is a J building up long-term campaign thing that's going to happen in Altamira sometime. Spunk is all short people. It's all weird, kind of weird stuff, but Spunk is now active as a second Thieves Guild in Altamira. So we have that going on. Then we have the Bounty Hunters Guild in Altamira. We don't have an Assassin's Guild in Altamira. It's all Bounty Hunters. Those are the guilds that we use. Some of them more used than others. Greyhawk was used extensively very early when we started doing group campaigning in the 90s.
There may be another guild that we don't even know about yet.
There may be. Why don't you explain it, Bill?
Well, there is a dark tower in Altamira, and it calls to all the shadow magers in the area. But nobody knows who lives there. No one's been inside. It's like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
Except there's no doors.
No one ever comes out.
And this is what happens when you have a lot of money and you can usurp taxation laws. It's just a big black tower. No one knows about it. Anyone who's a shadow mage gets like they got those brooches. Remember we talked about that with the extra powers on them. Well, they're all not only shadow mags but shadow mage thieves. So that group is part of the the Night Stalkers. So we'll see what happens there too. Correct. You never know. Could be a thief. It could be some crazy megalomaniac mage. You don't know. Another long-term thing that Jay's doing that we'll see down the road. Before I turn 70. So true to that. Always like to plant long-term game things in. So how long did Sailing Make Me Do It go? 20 years?
At least.
To it.
Yeah. We talked about Sailing Made Me Do It last week, where Sailing went evil, took the crown, put the crown on. Yeah, it was about a 20-year arc. So I like the long arcs. So that, with the Thieves Guilds, talk about, Alan, talk about your character, your halfling, in Greyhawk.
Oh, about Max?
Max Pickens.
Max Pickens. So Max is, I tend to get ideas from other places, kind of modify them. Max wants to be Jabba the Hutt, but a smaller version. He wants to control as much. He's a fighter thief, and
Definitely.
his goal is to control as much trade, as much product moving, making wishes for people, whatever he could do, doing favors to get things back. He's like a complete wheeler dealer. So every time we have an adventure, any town he's in, he always breaks off from the party and tries to find a way to make some kind of deal to make him some money in the long run.
Yeah, so this is another Alan character outside the norm of what we would think about. Alan always comes up with these crazy ideas, which are cool. So Max Pickens, yes. Well, Max, whenever we're on an adventure, he's always trying to make a connection with someone. So they were in Diamond Lake a little while ago, and he's trying to create all these like deals. You do this for me, I do this for you. Yes, Max Pickens. Yeah, absolutely. Said it's a great character name. But he wants to become the boss. He wants to be running the show. So, and he's a member of the Thieves Guild in Greyhawk.
Yeah.
Slim. That's a good one, man. So that's absolutely. So you get the idea.
Exactly.
The Thieves Guild tolerates him because he brings in money for him. But if he were ever usurp any influence of the Thieves Guild in Greyhawk, you don't want to trifle with them. And he's in the foreign quarter where they have that other, what's his name? The rat, the other
Weasel.
The weasel's there. So he's gotten the attention of the weasel who real in the foreign quarter, who really strong arms a lot of people. If you know the background of Greyhawk City, the Weasel's not too fond of Max. So I really haven't done a lot with that yet, but we'll see down the road if something happens there.
But Max doesn't he doesn't step on people's toes. He goes and spreads money around wherever he goes to make sure
He makes it rain.
He makes it rain wherever he goes. He wants. He's not looking for the little one. He's looking for the big kill at the end. So
yeah.
He's setting everything up for the end play. Maybe 20 years from now, who knows, where he can just take over everything.
It's another good RP opportunity. The only downfall we have, everyone who's watching, is we have 19 adventuring groups. So you're like, I never saw that character before. Well, that's why. So this campaign is so old and so huge. We're trying to rotate through as many groups as we can. It's tough sometimes. So I get requests on who we're playing. Yeah, well, Turin Deathstalker is a fighter assassin, and Makarash, my first really huge antithesis in my campaign, good point, Lo, was a fighter assassin before I knew Turin Deathstalker even existed. That's a dual class. That's the funny thing. Turin Deathstalker, has that history of hating humanoids, and Makarash worked with him. But when did that box set come out? Did we decide that? Free City Greyhawk? Was that 88, 89? In that realm? I know he is, Lo. I've seen him on your streams. Absolutely. So around that era. So I had Makarash since 1981. So yes, Max last played in 2016. That's what happens with us with stuff. But you missed one or two adventures. We talked about that with that group. So,
every character I said hasn't played in a while. You're like, we just played them when you were here. Just like one game in the last 3 years.
So Turin Deathstalker's a cool character, and I don't like that they pulled him out and moved him to Safeton. So, but that's all right. I mean, they attempt to move on. He's not really, his evil's different than the standard evil at all cost guy.
Problems with my connection. I'm gonna log.
Okay. Gonna try and relog in. So, but that's a cool character. Okay, excellent. It's all right, Dorgrim. Hey, man, everything becomes a blur at this age. So, gents, anything else? Any other characters you want to discuss, or guilds, or issues, or Orgnention is a background character for us in Greyhawk. So we use a lot of the second level tier of characters. So, and that tends to be our characters, like Bill's character Galena is one. Like Alan was talking about with Max. So we're not on that. We try to tend to keep the Orgnention and then behind the scenes, right, Mark? You think for the most part, and utilize the next tier, the level where they fight amongst each other for power. That tends to be where we
more the quartermasters than
yes.
Leadership.
That tends to be right where we are in our stuff. That doesn't mean that you won't see a high level character hop in from Greyhawk lore and canon a lot. Like
we just bumped into Mordekainen not that long ago.
Absolutely, and Tensor. Absolutely.
Yep.
We bumped into a couple others. Now, that's one of our other announcements. Brian, you still there? Hopefully, Brian is still hanging around. So, what do you think, guys?
So there's one. I think there's one story that we got to talk about.
All right, let's do it.
That is specific about Thieves, that needs to be brought in, and that is the whole hiding the gold piece or the copper piece on each other.
Yes, and we did that during a festival.
Yeah, and it just recently happened too. I mean, the bigger one was the festival one, but there were a bunch of others that did the same.
Mark, tell this story about this is a great. You could do this in your campaign too. This is cool.
Yep.
So go for it.
Yeah. So basically, Jay had run a specific homegrown adventure that was a festival. I think kind of driven more along the lines of what we see at like a Renaissance fair. And so it was a great gathering of the Knights of Ulick. I don't remember the catalyst behind it as far as like the reason that we were having it. Maybe it was like the some sort of anniversary with Celine.
It was the Tring Lee Midsummer Festival.
Yeah, the Tring Lee Midsummer Festival.
Yes, it was in the Dutch of Ulick.
Yep. And so the Thieves decided to play a game that basically they took, and was it a copper or was it a gold?
I think it was a copper piece, but it was specially marked.
Specially marked copper piece.
So that they couldn't cheat.
And basically what would happen is that they had a bet that went amongst all the thieves that were participating that whoever last had the actual copper piece lost and had to pay whatever the bet actually was. And so it was kind of intriguing. Because there were tons and tons of characters. There were some that were just part of like the mainstay, but just about every thief that was in the Knights of Ulick was there too.
Yep.
Were you hitting those fireworks too?
Yep.
And then basically, I don't remember. I remember it was Lena that ended up with it, but I don't remember. It was an NPC that put it on her.
It was Hawk.
Who was it? Was
Hawk. Hawk stayed ethereal. Yeah. He stayed ethereal.
So it was a really cool idea. Basically, it was Jay was rolling against pickpockets. You know, the 1E stat for that. And we just have to plan it on them. And a lot of the thieves, as they would go to bed at night, they would check all their stuff to make sure that they didn't have it on them, as part of it. And Lena got embroiled in something. I don't remember the details behind it, but she got embroiled in it. And Walt, the player, completely forgot about the contest going on, and so Hawk planted it on her. And at the end, she had to pay the debt.
It's a cool idea to try and be non-aggressive thing if you're doing it in one of those kind of settings, is trying to plant something or hide it somewhere or put it on. It was cool. It was a cool idea. I don't know whoever came up with the idea. It wasn't me.
No, it wasn't me.
Yeah, I think it was Tim.
That sounds like a Tim idea.
Yeah, we'll have to ask him next time. But it wasn't an idea that I came up with on that one. It was someone else, and we ran with it. It was fun. It was definitely a blast. It was a good point, man. Good one, definitely. And we got so many thieves in our campaign now, and I look up on the list, and it was like on my notes, they're all stuffed in here, but I couldn't get them all. There were so many of them. And I was glad that, and what Carlos said, I was glad to see that, people enjoy playing them now, as when we started, no one wanted to touch them. But some references we didn't, that are scrolling through. This is pretty cool. This was 2nd edition. This has like a whole Thieves Guild inside it. If you wanted to create a neutral setting one, it's called Den of Thieves. Okay. This is a good reference book.
Yep.
They made a lot of these. A Bastion of Faith is another one we used a lot for clerics, and we use it in Shieldlands. This is a good one too. I haven't placed this anywhere, but it's got it's got the Guildmaster. It's got all sorts of other things within it that you can get it really good. Yeah, there you go, Dorgrim. Definitely great one. This one is more talks about characters and is Forgotten Realms based. I've been showing it. It's got stuff on Shadow Mages too in it. It's got some organizations. It's a good one too. To back due to Greyhawk, Wizards and Rogues of the Realm. I don't give a shit. It's Forgotten Realms. It's a good idea. So it's one of those brown books. Another good one. And you can come up with some good ideas for your thieves as well, and that for 1E, 2E. But there's no reason you can't use it for any edition. And it goes, hey Duff, good to see you, man. Hey Duff, you're in time for our second, our end of the night announcement. So, all right, Brian, you there? So, I was gonna Christoph was gonna come on and discuss the Earth Journal. Okay, this was the Earth Journal that was done at GaryCon. I have 2 articles in it about the Order of Ulick. All right, next month. Well, this should be coming out shortly. There's that one. There's the new Earth Journal, a picture of Roblar in the front. It's all about Greyhawk City for the most part. Okay. So I have, and this will discuss some thievery in here. I have one about all our adventuring groups in Greyhawk called the Free Swords of Greyhawk City. So specifically talks about the Grey Company and what happened. It goes over all of our adventuring groups in Greyhawk. Brian has talked to Christoph, and Brian is going to start putting his Obsidian Portal stuff, a little bit of it. First one on deities. Brian's going to be the second DM from our channel who's going to write some articles for the Earth Journal and for hopefully Greyhawk Online. So, yay! Say yay to Brian. Brian said he would do it. He's got great stuff, and Will knows. Will, it should be coming out any day. He was working on it. So, yep. Cool. Aeneas. Well, we always appreciate a follow, and we're as old school as it gets here. And we got an old school game tomorrow night, Monday night. Mark's DMing, and I'm continuing Hidden Temple Arsenal on Tuesday. So, yep. So, Brian, his stuff is so good. If you, Brian, link your Obsidian Portal site for people to look at. It's some awesome stuff. He's 5e DM. He's done it twice on our Saturday night special. Hopefully we'll have another one coming up soon. I play in it. The Naz plays in it. Bill's playing in it once. Will's playing in it once. And Anna Meyer plays in it, has played in it. So it's a fun one, definitely. But take a look at all his stuff he's done on there. It's all created by scratch. Fantastic. So I wanted to give him that shout out. That has happened. Everyone saw our new sponsor, Reaper Miniatures. I'll play that at the end when we go off. Our Mark made a great comment for that. So, Bill, yes, Duff. I know you weren't on for that, but it's a huge announcement we had there. Bill, let's see what you're making, if you can. What do you got going on?
I'm making another tower, but this is one I just completed.
We got the picture scrolling. Everyone's seen it. Yep. And I got it from scratch. You sent them all. I got it. It's up right now. Going through.
So
Mark?
this one I stole from the basic concept from a fighter supplement called Sword and Fist.
Third edition.
It's their border keep. I stole it from that. And I'm just making another similar version. Now I'm going to do a different top on it. But it's all individual brickwork all the way around. It's textured foam and brickwork. So it's a little time consuming.
It is time consuming, but they're perfect for our outposts. It's perfect for a keep if you go to Bound and do that. So we're going to utilize that definitely. So and you can see the pictures up now. Everyone on the upper right hand corner, he's doing it step by step. As many as he sent us, I put them up there, so you'll see them coming up. Great things by Bill the Master Crafter. He's going to be very busy, everyone, because we have a ton of Reaper stuff coming to us.
Yep.
So that's a wonderful thing. Mark.
Yep.
What do you got going on tomorrow night?
So tomorrow night is going to be, it's going to be a little slim. I actually have a few people that are going to be, they're actually
Vacation.
on vacation.
Yep.
So we might have a limited group, but the intention is to finalize the treasure picks and so forth for SLAP, for what it is that they gathered, and then to continue going down the path with the Shieldland group. So the next piece that they're actually doing from Horde of the Dragon Queen is called Dragon Hatchery.
I guess I got to put that up on the events. Okay. Cool. And that is Mark's group runs every other Monday.
Correct.
Okay, so the July 1st, July 15th, July 29th from 6 p.m. EDT to 9 p.m. EDT, okay? And it's a fun group. And he has a Shieldlands group, and he has a group that's running kind of on the border of Selene and Cron Hills and the Lort Mills.
Yeah,
right?
right
They're
now.
the two groups he has. So, and that group's SLAP, and this group is the Shieldland group. It really doesn't have a name yet.
Yeah, they haven't established one yet.
Yes. So,
This was too, Carlos.
This was in discussion last night. The off Mondays, we don't have anything going on, and I don't really have time to run a show, and it fits perfectly. Carlos on CSL Entertainment is going to attempt on the off Mondays that Mark is not gaming to have a Carlos show talking about topics that Carlos has, maybe what he goes on his own campaign, similar to us. So look for that, guys, on the CASL Entertainment. Hopefully, maybe next Monday on the 8th. Okay, if not that day, then 2 weeks from then. So look for Carlos Lacing to have his own little chat show coming up. I just
Yep.
wanted to give him a little shout out for that. Okay, coolness. My voice is going. There you go, man. Absolutely. Yes, and that will link in Mark's show. It's an hour off. Mark's show and Carlos's show will link into Duff's great talk show on Monday nights, Wizards of the Couch. I have it on my follow. It is 4 gentlemen, including Duff, and it is really a great show. And they have people, unlike me, they get real people from the industry. Yes, Duff. So Duff, type in who you have as your guest tomorrow night. Okay, and that is 9 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So it starts an hour later. Starts at 10 on Eastern Time. But Wizards of the it's a good show. Once again, there's only an hour break between. Okay, Lou Agresta and Rowan Barton on the show tomorrow night. So I want to give him a shout out. And then we got stuff going on all the time. I hate to do this. I got a conflict with Will on his one show on Tuesday, but we're playing Tuesday this week. We're continuing the Hidden Temple of Erethnal because it's 4th of July and we all wanted to play. So that's 7:30 p.m. till whenever we're done, probably 11:30. This is a 4-session sitting adventure. I'm sorry, Will. We're playing on Tuesdays. My bad. I won't conflict with you Wednesday, but yes, it's moving for. I got to play Tuesday this week. It's the only night that everyone could agree on. So, Will's
Anybody
show.
watching, just do a split screen. That way you can actually.
Absolutely. I will. I'll snip it and send it, Duff, because we're every other Monday. I'll snip multiple things out of our events for you, and I'll send it to you. So you may still be on. I will promise to raid you, Will, if you're on and we're getting done. I promise. We'll do that. Will's main game, Wicked Studios LLC, Tuesday nights. He's doing Return to Saltmarsh. It's a good game. It's a good show. And then he's got a show on Wednesday night, Savage Lands. That's type that in there, and that is almost out viewing his original Tuesday show, and that's a fun one too. So Will's got those 2 shows, and then Frank Nightheart Gaming. I said Frank and Sid, we great initial connection on Reaper, and it's Tales of a Savage Lands. It's a good show. Frank's runs every other Friday and every other Saturday are his main miniature-based games. So you can check it out. Every one I'm discussing here is on my follow list. Always, anyone who I partner with is on my follow list. And that's why I thought someone would give away in Reaper. Reaper's up there now. So before the show. Glazer, thank you so very much. Sorry that my computer crashed early on. So that sucked. But anything in closing, gentlemen? I had Tim on. I had Alan on for a while. Thank you guys. Had the whole crew and all the regulars watching tonight. Another great big show. This was a blast. Hopefully you feel a little more comfortable with our Thieves. Once again, anything you need, rules wise, I'm free to share it. Just as long as you tell everyone it came from me. Carlos and I, our game is full for our Thursday game at Gen Con. All the seats are filled. So I'm sorry that if anyone wanted to jump in, it's filled. The Real Taco Turtle was the 6th and final fill on that. Hopefully Carlos doesn't see any issues with the characters I presented for it. I know he had some in chat issues about it, but it's all Jay's bizarre house rules, but it's nothing crazy. They get to see an Inquisitor. I think Inquisitor is a cool class. What do you think, guys?
Yeah.
Inquisitor's fun.
Inquisitor's fun.
Always a fun class.
Instead of a Paladin, everyone's like, I want to play Paladin. Well, you're going to play an Inquisitor instead. So there's some differences, but it's a cool class. And some other things, there's Fighter Mage, Bandit. I'm using Candace, Mark. I took Candace in for that. So great characters.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to convince Carlos to each of us to NPC one in each other's parts to kind of interact with the party. I think that way the DM doesn't have to run one. I thought that would be a good idea too.
Yeah.
Cool. So Gen Con's going to be fun. Anyone else have anything before we call it a night? I'm going to run the Reaper announcement and then go to my NBA screen. It's 3 straight nights on the Lord Gazumba channel. Tonight, tomorrow night's Mark, 6 p.m. EDT. And Tuesday night, instead of Thursdays, our main game, Hidden Temple of Erethnol, with the Bloodied Brethren / First Ulic Pathfinders. Second sitting of this, the fight is getting really nasty in there. So, yes. Well, that's it. I like it. Carlos, I love it. And, I have all my adventures done. It's all done, Carlos, in Jay's crappy chicken scratch. So I got to convert this over to a Word doc and get it to you shortly. So you have it. But it's all done, and it's all in Jay's code. So I got to convert it into something legitimately English, but it's done. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks everyone for a great night. Just remember, support all the channels I have on follow.
Yep.
Check them all out. Give them follows. They're all good, great people. They're all partners. Gitano, thanks. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful next couple weeks. One last thing: the 27th, Saturday night, Tim's City State Invincible Overlord campaign, 25-year hiatus. We're going to play. It's on a Saturday night special. That's the end of July. So it's only a month away. So here we go. The comet will reappear. Everyone have a great night. See you soon.
Night, everyone.
See you tomorrow night. I'll be moderating tomorrow night for Mark's game.
All right, man. Take it easy.
See you, man.
See you, Jay.
See you, man. See you guys.
Yep.
Oh, Tom just re-upped. Have a good night, everyone. See you soon.